Hello and welcome to Catex TV. I'm Tom Bailey in London. Authorities in Holland have concluded that a missile called a Buk destroyed the Malaysian Airlines Boeing 777 flight MH17 on the 17th of July last year, killing all 298 passengers and crew aboard. It was apparently launched from a 320 square kilometre area southeast of the crash site, which in turn covers a vast amount of land to the south of the town of Shisne. The report also includes the result of separate simulations conducted by Ukraine and Russia based on the safety board's conclusion about the angle of impact. The Ukrainian map narrows the possible launch site to a very small area near the village of Chernovsky-Zhovten. The Russian map attributed to a flyout simulation tested by Almaz-Antey, a maker of UK missiles, put the launch site slightly to the southeast of the Ukrainian spot. With echoes of the shooting down of the Malaysian airliner, we've recently heard from international air safety agencies that have warned that airliners flying over Iran, Iraq and the Caspian Sea could be in danger from long-range Russian cruise missiles engaging targets in Syria. The European Union's aviation regulator issued a safety bulletin after Russia last week launched a barrage of missiles from warships in the Caspian Sea towards rebel targets nearly 1,000 miles away. The missile's route cut across busy air corridors between Europe, the Gulf and Asia, leading the watchdog to alert airlines about their path across the sea, Iran and Iraq. Airlines, including Air France, on Monday began altering their routes after the bulletin to avoid the area. British Airways on Friday night declined to say if it was changing routes for flights in the region. Flight tracking websites, however, appeared to show that BA flights were still crossing the Caspian Sea yesterday. The airline said it would never fly in airspace unless they were satisfied that it was safe to do so, and regularly kept in touch with government and security agencies to update safety information. 3 people have been killed in Palestinian so-called Day of Rage attacks. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called an emergency security meeting, and Israel has closed the Erez border crossing between Gaza and Israel. This is due to 200 people rioting about 100 meters from the border fence. And further, in other attacks, 2 people, one a 6-year-old man, were killed after 2 Palestinians boarded a number 78 bus in Jerusalem and began to shoot and stab passengers. One attacker was killed and the other one was captured after sustaining serious injuries. Another man was killed and 6 others injured after an attacker rammed his car into a bus stop in Jerusalem and then got out and began attacking pedestrians with an axe. The attacker was reportedly shot and taken to hospital with serious injuries. A Palestinian man stabbed and lightly wounded an Israeli in Ra'anana, just north of Tel Aviv. Amateur video shows the alleged assailant being beaten by several men as he lay on the ground. And in another attack in Ra'anana, a knife-wielding Palestinian wounded 4 people. Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat, who was visiting the site of the terror attack, said that drastic steps should be taken, including imposing closures on villages in East Jerusalem. In Burma, election officials have summoned political parties to a meeting to propose delaying the November vote because of recent flooding. It is expected that Burma's State Election Commission will postpone the landmark poll in November, with the opposition party National League for Democracy, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, on the verge of an historic victory. Government officials cited recent flooding and a lethal landslide as the reasons for proposing the delay after summoning party representatives to the meeting. The move would block, temporarily at least, a predicted triumph in the polls for the NLD in the first election since the end of 5 decades of military dictatorship in the former British colony, also known as Myanmar. In France, Association Française de l'Assurance has estimated an insured loss of $625 million, or between $625 and $738 million, for the severe flooding in the south of France in early October. Damage caused by the floods on the 3rd and 4th of October led the French government to declare a state of emergency and is expected to lead to more than 60,000 claims. October has seen a flurry of severe weather activity so far, with South Carolina experiencing a so-called 1,000-year rain event after more than 2 feet fell between the 1st and the 5th of October. In addition, the costly typhoon Mujigae struck China's Guangdong province on the 2nd of October. The direct economic losses from the storm were estimated at $3.72 billion, according to Anne Benfield's impact forecasting. And finally, A 62-year-old recreational hunter lost in the Australian outback has defied the odds and been found alive after surviving for 6 days by eating ants with no water. The man was found under a tree by police trackers and was extremely dehydrated, disoriented, and disillusional after his ordeal. Police Superintendent Andy Greatwood said that Reg Fogarty left a car driven by his brother late on Wednesday in pursuit of a camel in the Great Victorian Desert in Western Australia. Police trackers found the former miner sitting under a tree on Tuesday morning, so that's this morning, 15 kilometres away from where he became lost. Mr. Fogarty had spent the last 2 days sitting under a tree eating ants. That's certainly something worth bearing in mind if ever you're stuck in the outback. Thank you. We'll be back again tomorrow. Goodbye.